Good evening, dear friends. Welcome to this recently created channel, which has a twofold mission. The first one is to help students who are about to embark or who have embarked on a research project at the level of the BA, the Master's, and the Doctorate. The reason why the channel has intention, and this intention is that there are students at the level of the Doctorate, for example, who are already in the second year or third year, and this is something that I have observed. This is a phenomenon. This is a big problem, of course, that I have observed over a number of years. I encounter students at different universities who are still grappling with problems that can easily be taken to be first steps. How come that they are in the second or third year, but they still have not got any idea of what they should start with? They don't have a starting point in mind. So this is one of the issues that we'll be addressing, focusing specifically on research design and the related concepts, of course. This channel also has for a mission helping researchers, students in general, researchers in particular, with academic English. And I think that this has a rationale, and the rationale is that every one of us here, the teachers, I'm addressing this to my colleagues, the teachers, we do notice that there are pieces of writing at the level of a doctorate. For example, there are chapters that are written as though they were oral presentations. It's a phenomenon. There are a lot of, for example, elements from spoken English that infest academic writing. And of course, this contributes to the lowering of the quality of the paper, no matter how hard the student tries to, make the design sophisticated and make the study coherent. But in case, or in the absence of academic English, then of course the quality of the thesis may not be or is highly unlikely to be satisfactory. Elements of advanced English are also, to be included. For example, we'll be focusing on certain expressions that can replace what we might call the routine expressions. We will focus on some of the local mistakes that recur in a number of theses. And of course, the channel is open to your suggestions in the form of comments, and I will be very reactive in this respect. Today, we are going to talk about one of the issues that has been a problem among students, among a number of students actually, and this is why I would like to start with it. All too often, we see students unable to summarize their thesis. Let's take a typical second-year doctoral student. You ask him or her a question, what your thesis is about, and the answer is something like, I work on, for example, the teaching of Amazigh. Talking about the acquisition of the syntax of English. I'm working on the sociolinguistics of, I don't know, or multilingualism in Morocco. These, however, can be an answer to what is the area of your research, for example, but not what you are actually working on. There are students, and this is something I'm saying out of my proper experience with so many of them. There are students who simply are unable to summarize their research, their studies, in one single complete sentence with an NP and a VP, with a subject and a verb. Where does the problem come from? The problem, of course, comes from the first step that has not been taken, appropriately, or who has been taken in an awkward fashion. Let me cut to the heart of the issue. A good researcher, ladies and gentlemen, is one who does not do anything before he or she determines their aims and objectives. In the absence of objectives that need to be formulated in a clear way, articulated in direct, in a direct way, in formal English, in a way that does not, tolerate any ambiguity, in a way that is straightforward. In the absence of these objectives, the whole project is bound to failure. Here is why. Here is the reason why. There are students who spend their first and second year, probably, under the recommendation of their supervisors. They spend a lot of time doing readings and summarizing them. If you do readings and summarize them and stuck them chapter after chapter, then that's not research, that's a summarizing exercise. You see? Formulating your objectives has the potential of, number one, of guiding you. Because when you formulate your objective, and by the way, objectives need to start with the verb phrase to plus verb, okay, to do something, either to explore, to compare, to test the effect of X on Y, to compare to anything, all right? You should have an action verb there. So when you formulate your objective in an appropriate manner, it can be 2, 3, 4 objectives, 1 objective, it depends. There is no, there's no specific number of objectives, except that when you have, for example, 10 objectives, that is too much for a doctoral thesis, to accommodate. So formulating your objectives has the potential, has the power of restricting also your effort and your focus. It restricts your focus in the sense that in your review of the literature, it guides your review of the literature, because there are certainly articles that relate to the topic, but because your objectives are not, or do not cohere with an article that you might find, you just put it aside. You may include it, but it will not be your main article. It will not be your main study. So this is why objectives are necessary, because they give you what we can refer to as the roadmap, so to speak, in order to go through the process in a very comfortable manner. Objectives can also help you with the research. They do help you with the research design. You see, how do you formulate your research design? Go back to your objectives. Why? Because your objectives will immediately inspire your hypotheses. Where do we get our hypotheses in our research questions? It's from our objectives. It's like a chain. Some researchers refer to that as a golden thread: aims, objectives, research questions, hypotheses. So these elements are all, connected to each other, and the first step here is the formulation of your objectives. So please spend as much time as you can on the formulation of your objectives. Check with your supervisor, check with the people you think are knowledgeable in the field, and there you go. Rather than, of course, spending first year, second year, perhaps just doing the review of the literature. That's not the main point. Okay? In the next videos, I will expand this idea and probably tackle related issues to this. And of course, this will also depend on how the viewers react to this video. So please go and subscribe to the channel and say something about this video. If there is any criticism, if there is any comment, any feedback, then I would be very glad to react to it. Thank you very much for listening, and I wish you all the best.